Shut up when the adults are talking. Those 6 words came out of my own son's mouth. In my living room, during a meeting about selling my apartment, the apartment I'd lived in for 28 years, the one his father and I bought with our own sweat and tears. But here's the thing that'll shock you. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I stood up, walked straight to my bedroom, and made one phone call. Just one. 5 minutes later, Sophia's phone started buzzing. My daughter-in-law's face went from smug satisfaction to absolute panic in about 3 seconds flat. Then came the scream, "Grace, you can't do this to us. We're family." Yeah, family, but I could do it. And I did. And you're going to want to stick around to hear how this plays out, because what happens next is absolutely insane. Let me take you back to where this whole mess started. Back to when I was just Grace, the mom who gave everything. Before I became the old woman who needed to shut up while her own kids decided her future. This story? It starts 3 months before that meeting, with a conversation I wasn't supposed to hear. It was a Tuesday afternoon in July, hot as hell in Brooklyn. I'd driven out to Ethan and Sophia's place in Williamsburg, yeah, the fancy part they could barely afford, to drop off groceries. I did that every week. Bought their food, brought it over, usually stayed to organize their kitchen because Sophia just didn't have time with her yoga classes and brunch dates. I know. You're already thinking I was a doormat, and you'd be right. But that's what moms do, right? We help, we give, we sacrifice. That day, I let myself in with the key they'd given me. In case of emergencies, they'd said. The emergency being that I was their free housekeeper and grocery service, apparently. I heard Sophia's voice coming from the bedroom. She was on the phone, and her voice had that edge to it, that sharp, calculating tone she used when she thought nobody was listening. I should have announced myself. But something stopped me. "Mom, it's gonna happen soon," she was saying. "Ethan's been working on her. The apartment's worth at least $850,000 in this market. Maybe more. We just need to convince her to sell." My blood went cold. I stood frozen in their hallway, grocery bags cutting into my hands. She's 63. She doesn't need all that space. We'll find her some little studio in Queens or whatever. The important thing is getting that money. Once we have it, we can finally pay off our debts and get that house in Connecticut. They wanted to move to Connecticut with my money. I know, Sophia continued, laughing. Ethan's brother Michael is useless, so he won't be a problem. He just does whatever we tell him anyway. And Grace, please. She's so desperate for Ethan's approval, she'll sign whatever we put in front of her. I backed out of that apartment so quietly, left the groceries on their doorstep, got in my car and drove home with my hands shaking so hard I almost crashed twice. That night, I didn't sleep. I just stared at the ceiling of my bedroom, the bedroom I'd shared with Thomas for 32 years before he died. The apartment where we'd raised our boys, where we'd celebrated birthdays and Christmases, where Thomas had taken his last breath, holding my hand, making me promise I'd take care of myself. "Don't let anyone push you around, Gracie," he'd whispered. "Not even the boys. You're stronger than you think." I'd failed him. I'd let myself become exactly what Sophia described, desperate for approval, easy to manipulate, but that was going to change. The next morning, I called my old friend Emma. We'd worked together for 15 years at the same law firm, me as a paralegal, her as an attorney. She'd retired the same year Thomas died, but we'd stayed close. "Emma, I need help." "Legal help." We met for coffee at our usual spot in Park Slope. I told her everything. The conversation I'd overheard, the months of subtle manipulation I'd been too blind to see. How Ethan had started asking questions about my estate planning. How Sophia had been researching senior living facilities just to have options. Emma listened with that lawyer face of hers, calm, analytical, taking mental notes. When I finished, she leaned back and crossed her arms. "Grace, how serious are you about protecting yourself?" "Completely." "Then we're going to do something that'll make them very, very angry. But it'll protect everything you and Thomas built." "What?" She smiled. Not a friendly smile. A warrior smile. "We're going to set up a trust. The apartment goes into it today. If something happens to you, it passes directly to a charitable foundation. Neither of your sons can touch it. They can't sell it. They can't force you to sell it. And if they try to contest it, we'll have so much documentation of your mental competency that any judge will laugh them out of court." They'll hate me. Grace, they already see you as a piggy bank to break open. The only question is whether you're going to let them. I thought about Thomas, about his last words to me, about the life we'd built in that apartment. Let's do it. We spent the next 2 weeks building an ironclad case. Emma brought in 2 doctors who evaluated me. Cognitive tests, psychological assessments, the whole deal. Everything came back perfect. Sharper than most people my age, they said. We filmed the signing. 3 witnesses, all notarized. Emma made sure every single legal base was covered. The apartment was mine, protected, untouchable. And then I waited. I kept showing up for Sunday dinners, kept bringing groceries, kept playing the role of the helpful mom while watching my son and his wife plot behind fake smiles. Ethan started dropping hints. Mom, you ever think about downsizing? This place is getting too big for you, don't you think? I manage just fine, sweetheart. Yeah, but the stairs, the maintenance. Wouldn't something smaller be easier? I like my home, Ethan. His jaw would tighten. Sophia would shoot him looks across the table. But they'd smile and change the subject. Michael was a different story. My oldest son had always been quieter, softer. He worked as a teacher in the Bronx, married to Olivia, a nurse. They had 2 kids I barely saw because they were always so busy. But I noticed Michael had started coming to more family dinners, always agreeing with whatever Ethan said, never making eye contact with me for too long. They were coordinating. All of them. The trap was being set. I just had to wait for them to spring it. The call came on a Wednesday night in October. Ethan's voice sounded stiff, rehearsed. Hey, Mom, we need to have a family meeting. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. It's important. Everyone's gonna be there. Everyone? Me, Sophia, Michael, Olivia. We need to discuss some family stuff. Financial planning. Your future. My future. Like I was a problem to be solved. I'll be there, I said calmly. After I hung up, I texted Emma. It's happening tomorrow. Her response came back immediately. Phone stays on. I'll be ready. That night, I didn't sleep again. But this time it wasn't from fear or sadness. It was anticipation. Maybe even a little excitement. They thought they were ambushing me. But I was walking into that meeting with armor they couldn't see. I spent the hours before dawn going through old photos. Me and Thomas on our wedding day. I was 24, he was 27. Both of us broke as hell, but so happy. The day we closed on the apartment, holding the keys, couldn't believe we actually owned something. The boys, as babies, as kids, as teenagers, where had I lost them? Or had I ever really had them? Thursday, October 12th, 9:58 a.m. I made coffee, set out cups, put out the cookies I'd baked the night before because even knowing what was coming, I couldn't stop being a mom. The doorbell rang at exactly 10. Ethan and Sophia arrived first. She was wearing this designer dress. I knew because I'd seen it online for $200. Meanwhile, they'd been too broke to pay me back the $15,000 I'd lent them for Ethan's car 2 years ago. Ethan kissed my cheek, cold, formal, like I was a client. Not his mother. Sophia's hug was even worse. All performance, no feeling. Grace, you look tired. Are you sleeping okay? Translation, you look old. You're declining. You need help. I'm fine, dear. Michael and Olivia showed up 5 minutes later. Michael wouldn't look at me, just mumbled, "Hey, Mom," and headed straight for the couch. Olivia at least seemed uncomfortable. She gave me a real hug and whispered, "Sorry about this." So she knew. They all knew what was about to happen. They arranged themselves like a firing squad. Ethan and Sophia on the main couch, sitting so close they looked like one person. Michael in the armchair to the left, studying his shoes. Olivia perched on the arm of Michael's chair, looking like she wanted to be anywhere else. And me? I stood. Something inside told me not to sit, not to lower myself to their level, to maintain my dignity for whatever was coming. Nobody touched the coffee. Nobody took a cookie, Sophia started. Of course she did. She'd probably been rehearsing this for weeks. Grace, we asked you here because we love you and we're concerned. That soft voice, that fake, sweet, poisonous voice. This apartment is getting too much for you. The stairs alone are dangerous at your age. And the upkeep, the costs, it's not practical anymore at my age. I was 63, not 93. Ethan jumped in right on cue. Mom, we've been doing research. There are really nice senior living communities. Smaller places, everything on one floor. You'd have less to worry about. I don't want, I started. And here's the thing, Ethan continued, talking over me like I hadn't spoken. If we sell this place now, while the market's good, we could get top dollar. Maybe $850,000, maybe more. That money could set everyone up. It could be a family investment. Family investment. Beautiful words for, we want your money. I looked at Michael. And you agree with this? He finally looked up. Guilt was written all over his face. But he nodded. I mean, they have a point, Mom. It is a lot of apartment for one person. Coward. I turned back to Ethan. And what exactly would this family investment look like? Sophia answered. Well, Ethan and I have some debt we need to handle. And Michael and Olivia could use help with the kids' college funds. And you'd have money for your care as you get older. It's really the smartest move for everyone. For everyone. Meaning for them, I see. And when exactly were you planning to tell me about this decision? Or was this meeting just a formality before you— Mom, come on. Ethan's voice got harder, sharper. Don't be dramatic. We're trying to help you. Help me by taking my home? It's not about taking anything. His voice rose. It's about being realistic. You can't handle this place anymore. You're getting older. Your memory isn't what it was. My memory is perfect, Ethan. And someone needs to make responsible decisions before something bad happens. I am making responsible decisions. This is my apartment. I'm not selling. Sophia's mask slipped just a little. I saw the flash of anger in her eyes. Ethan stood up. Mom, you're not thinking clearly. We've already looked at places for you. We've done the financial planning. This is happening whether I want it or not. My voice was ice. Is that what you were going to say? I'm saying I tried to speak. I opened my mouth to tell them exactly what I thought of their plan, of their manipulation, of their greed. But I barely got out. Ethan, listen, before my son held up his hand. Like I was a dog, like I was a child, and then he said it. His face was red, his eyes were cold, and he looked at me like I was nothing. Be quiet when the adults are talking. The world stopped. The air went thick. I looked at this man. This 6-foot-tall, 35-year-old man who I'd given birth to. Who I'd nursed through every fever, every nightmare, every heartbreak. Who I'd sent to college by working double shifts. Who I'd supported through 2 failed businesses before he got his current job. And he just told me to shut up in my own home. Sophia was smiling. A small, satisfied smile. The smile of someone who just won. Michael stared at the floor. Olivia's hand covered her mouth. I didn't cry. Didn't scream. Didn't beg. I stood up straight, straighter than I'd stood in years, and walked to my bedroom. Behind me, I heard Sophia's voice. Calm, victorious. Let her go. She'll come around. She just needs time to process. Old people have a hard time with change. Old people. I closed my bedroom door, took out my phone, found Emma's number. My hands weren't shaking anymore. My breathing was calm. I felt absolutely clear. I hit call. Emma answered on the first ring. Grace? It happened. Say the word. Do it. Give me 5 minutes. I hung up and sat on the bed. The bed Thomas and I had shared for 3 decades. I looked at his picture on the nightstand. That smile, those kind eyes. I'm doing it, Thomas. Just like you told me. I'm standing up for myself. Exactly 5 minutes later, I heard Sophia's phone ring in the living room. Once, twice, 3 times. Then her voice annoyed. Hello? Pause. Yes, this is she. Longer pause. What? What do you mean we can't? I walked back into the living room slowly, deliberately. I sat in my favorite chair, Thomas's old recliner, and waited. Sophia's face had gone from smug to pale in seconds. That's impossible. You're lying. She wouldn't. Ethan grabbed the phone. Who is this? His face changed as he listened. Confusion, disbelief, then rage. She did what? He looked at me. Really looked at me. For the first time all morning, he actually saw me. Mom, what did you do? I smiled. Not a warm smile. Not a motherly smile. A warrior smile. I protected what's mine. Sophia snatched the phone back from Ethan. This is ridiculous. Grace doesn't have a lawyer. She doesn't— Emma? Oh, that was beautiful. The moment she realized who she was talking to. that my nice old friend Emma was actually Emma Rodriguez, one of the best estate attorneys in New York. "You can't do this," Sophia hissed into the phone. "That apartment is a family asset. We have rights." I could hear Emma's calm voice from across the room, though I couldn't make out the words. But I knew what she was saying. I'd heard it all before. Sophia's face went from pale to red. 4 months ago? Ethan grabbed the phone again. "Emma, this is Ethan. There's been a misunderstanding. My mother isn't thinking clearly. We can contest." He went quiet, listening. His face changed from angry to shocked to desperate. 3 doctors? Video documentation? You can't. He hung up. Just stood there holding Sophia's phone like it was a bomb. Michael finally looked up. "What's going on?" Ethan turned to me. His voice was shaking. "You put the apartment in a trust 4 months ago. It can't be sold without your written authorization. And if you die, it goes to—" He looked at the phone like it had betrayed him. "A foundation for elderly abuse victims?" "That's right," Sophia exploded. "You did what?" "I protected myself from people who wanted to rob me." "Rob you?" She was screaming now, that sweet mask completely shattered. "We're your family. We were trying to help you. By taking my home? By making decisions without me? By telling me to shut up in my own living room?" Ethan stepped toward me. "Mom, you can't do this. This is insane. We're your sons. We deserve—" "Deserve?" I stood up. "Tell me, Ethan, what exactly have you done to deserve anything?" "I'm your son, and I'm your mother, but that didn't stop you from treating me like garbage today, did it?" Sophia's hands were clenched into fists. "When did you do this? When did you go behind our backs?" "July 17th, the day I brought groceries to your apartment and overheard you on the phone with your mother." Her face went white. "Yeah, Sophia. I heard you. Every word. About how I didn't need all this space. About how the old woman wouldn't last much longer anyway. About how you were going to use my money to buy a house in Connecticut. I never said that. You said it in those exact words. I was standing in your hallway. You were in your bedroom. You told your mother you'd have me in some little studio in Queens within 6 months." Ethan looked at his wife. "Sophia?" "She's lying." "She's confused. This is exactly why we need to—" "I'm not confused, Sophia. My memory is perfect. Want to know what else I remember? 2 weeks ago, when you went through the papers on my desk while I was in the bathroom. You thought I didn't notice, but I always close that drawer completely. You left it open half an inch, and the papers were out of order." Sophia had no response. The truth was written all over her face. Michael stood up. "Mom, okay, maybe we went about this wrong. But cutting us out completely? Leaving everything to strangers? That's too much. Too much?" I laughed, a bitter, tired laugh. "Michael, do you remember asking to borrow $15,000 for your down payment? I thanked you for that. It's been 4 years. You've never paid back a single dollar. Not one. You said it was a gift." "No, I said, don't worry about paying me back right away. There's a difference." I turned to Ethan. "And you? The $20,000 for your car, also never repaid. The 6 months you and Sophia lived here when she was pregnant with Mason. Rent-free. I cooked every meal. Cleaned, watched your older son while you went out partying on weekends. We didn't party. I was 60 years old and exhausted. But I never complained because you were my family." Olivia finally spoke. Her voice was quiet but firm. "Grace is right." Everyone turned to look at her. "Olivia, don't—" Michael started. "No." She stood up. "I'm sorry, but she's right. You all used her, and today you humiliated her. Ethan, you told your mother to shut up." "Your mother? I can't be part of this." She walked over to me, took my hand. "Grace, I'm so sorry. I knew about the meeting, but I didn't know it was going to be like this. I thought it was just going to be a conversation. It's okay, Olivia. It's not okay." She looked at Michael. "We're leaving. Now. Liv, we can't just— We're leaving. Or I am. Your choice." Michael looked between his wife and his brother. For once in his life, he made the right decision. He followed Olivia to the door. Before they left, Olivia turned back. "Grace, I'll call you tomorrow, if you want to talk." "I'd like that." The door closed behind them. Now it was just me, Ethan, and Sophia. The silence lasted maybe 10 seconds. Then Sophia started laughing. Not a happy laugh. A cold, cruel laugh. "You're gonna regret this, Grace. You're gonna die alone. Completely alone. And when you're in a hospital bed, begging for help, don't count on us. I'd rather die alone than live surrounded by vultures. Ethan's voice was low. Dangerous. This isn't over, Mom. We're going to contest that trust. We're going to prove you weren't in your right mind, that Emma manipulated you. Try it. I crossed my arms. Emma made sure everything was legal. I signed in front of 3 witnesses. 2 of them were doctors who certified my full mental capacity. I have psychological evaluations, cognitive tests, brain scans, all documented. We spent $8,000 making sure it was bulletproof. $8,000? Sophia shrieked. You spent our inheritance on lawyers? It wasn't your anything. It was my money, and it was the best investment I ever made. Ethan pointed his finger at me. His hand was shaking. You're making a mistake. A huge mistake. And you're gonna pay for it. Is that a threat, Ethan? It's a promise. They left. Sophia slammed the door so hard a picture fell off the wall. The glass shattered across my hallway floor. I got the broom and cleaned up the glass. The next. I looked at the broken frame. It was a photo from Ethan's college graduation. Him in his cap and gown, me and Thomas on either side, all of us smiling. That family didn't exist anymore. I got the broom and cleaned up the glass. The next 3 days were hell. Ethan called every hour. Left voicemails that went from pleading to threatening and back again. Mom, please pick up. We need to talk. I'm sorry about what I said. Let's fix this. 2 hours later, you're being stubborn and stupid. This is going to blow up in your face. Then at 2 a.m., I can't believe you'd betray your own family like this. Dad would be ashamed of you. That one almost broke me. Almost, but I deleted it like all the others. Sophia texted constantly. Long paragraphs that started sweet and ended vicious. Grace, I know things got heated. But think about Mason and Liam. Think about your grandchildren. They're asking for you. Do you really want them to grow up without their grandmother? When I didn't respond, you're a selfish, bitter old woman who can't stand seeing her family happy. Everything we did was out of love and concern. Then finally, fine, you win. But remember, old people who end up alone usually end up badly, very badly. Accidents happen. I screenshotted that one and sent it to Emma. Her response, I'm documenting everything. If anything happens to you, they'll be the first suspects. They're idiots. Michael sent one text. Just one. Mom, I'm sorry about how things went. I need some time to think about everything. I hope you're okay. I didn't respond. But I didn't block him either. Day 4, Emma came over with her briefcase and that look she gets when she has news. They hired a lawyer. I'd been expecting it, but my stomach still dropped. Already? A cheap one. Guy named Richards. He works out of a strip mall in Jersey. But he filed a motion to contest the trust. Claims you were coerced and not of sound mind when you signed. Can they win? Emma smiled. That shark smile. Grace, their lawyer, couldn't win an argument with a toddler. We have 3 psychiatric evaluations from board-certified doctors. Video of you signing, completely lucid, explaining your reasoning. Notarized testimonies from all 3 witnesses. The judge threw out the motion in 48 hours. Relief flooded through me. So it's over? Better than over. The judge warned Ethan that any future attempts to contest without real evidence could be considered legal harassment. He could face sanctions. How'd Ethan take it? According to my contact at the courthouse, he left looking like he wanted to punch a wall, quote unquote. Emma pulled out more papers. But there's something else. This arrived at my office yesterday. I read the document. Then read it again because I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was a lawsuit. Ethan and Sophia were suing me for $47,000, the return of all loans and gifts they'd received over the past 5 years. They claimed everything had been given under the understanding of future inheritance, and that by changing my estate plan, I'd committed fraud. I started laughing. I couldn't help it. They're suing me for the money I gave them? Yep, they're desperate and stupid. Fatal combination. Can they win? Emma shook her head. Every dollar you gave them is documented as either a gift or a loan with no due date. I have bank records, text messages where they thank you for your generosity, emails where Ethan specifically says, don't worry about paying you back. They have no case. But they're going to try anyway. They're going to try. And they're going to lose. And it's going to be public and embarrassing. I thought about it. about my son dragging me to court, about our family drama becoming public record. Let them do it. You sure? It's gonna get ugly. Emma, it's already ugly. At least this way, I'll have legal proof of what they really are. She nodded approvingly. That's my Grace, the woman who doesn't take crap from anyone. After Emma left, I sat in Thomas's recliner. Our apartment felt different now. Quieter, emptier, but also mine. Truly mine. For the first time in years, nobody was going to tell me what to do with it. I couldn't sleep that night. Not from worry. From memories, I remembered meeting Thomas at a diner in Queens. I was 23, waitressing to pay for community college. He was 26, working construction. He left a $20 tip on an $8 check. When I chased him down to tell him he'd made a mistake, he said, "No mistake." Best service I ever had. We got married 8 months later. Small wedding, maybe 30 people. We honeymooned in the Catskills because that's all we could afford. The apartment came 7 years later. We'd saved every penny. Thomas worked double shifts. I worked 3 jobs. When we finally got the keys, we sat on the floor of the empty living room and cried. "We did it, Gracie," he'd said. We actually did it. We raised our boys here. Ethan's first steps were in this hallway. Michael learned to ride his bike out front. Christmas mornings, birthday parties, graduations, all here. And Thomas died here, in our bedroom, holding my hand. Peaceful. Take care of yourself, Gracie. Promise me. Don't let anyone push you around. I'd promised. And then I'd broken that promise for 3 years, but not anymore. 2 weeks later, I got a visitor I wasn't expecting. It was a Sunday afternoon. I was reading on the couch when the buzzer rang. "Grace? It's Michael. Can I come up?" I hesitated, but something in his voice made me buzz him in. He showed up at my door alone. No Olivia, no kids. Just him, looking like he hadn't slept in days. "Can we talk?" I let him in. Made coffee. We sat at the kitchen table in silence for a solid 5 minutes. Finally, he spoke. "I'm a coward, Mom." I didn't argue. I should have defended you that day. I should have told Ethan to shut the hell up. I should have walked out the second he disrespected you. But I just sat there like a useless piece of crap. "Why, Michael? Why didn't you say anything?" He rubbed his face with both hands. "Because I've been afraid of Ethan my whole life. He was always the strong one, the confident one, the one who made decisions. Even though I'm older, I always felt like the little brother. That's not an excuse for betraying me. I know." He pulled an envelope from his jacket, put it on the table. "That's why I'm here." I opened it. Inside was a check for $15,000. "Michael, I don't want... It's not about what you want, Mom. It's about what's right. I borrowed that money 4 years ago and never paid it back. I acted like it was your job to support me forever. That was wrong. You have kids. You need this money more than..." "No," his voice was firm. "I need to be a man who pays his debts. I need my sons to see that. Olivia helped me understand that. She's a good woman. She's the best. And she's ashamed of me right now. She told me if I don't fix things with you, she's gonna leave me. And she means it." I looked at my oldest son. Really looked at him. The bags under his eyes, the defeated slope of his shoulders. "Michael, did Ethan send you here?" "Hell no. Ethan doesn't even know I'm here. When he finds out, he's probably gonna stop talking to me. He's not okay, Mom." "What do you mean?" Michael sighed. "Sophia left him." I felt a strange mix of emotions, satisfaction, pity, vindication. "When?" "Last week. Packed up the kids and moved in with her mother in New Jersey. She told him he was weak, that if he couldn't handle his own mother, how was he supposed to be a real man?" The irony was poetic. Sophia had manipulated Ethan into trying to rob me. When he failed, she punished him by leaving. How is he? Destroyed, not eating, not sleeping, got fired from his job for missing too many days. The apartment they were renting? He's getting evicted next month. He's gonna be homeless. A year ago, that would have sent me running to help him. I would have opened my door, my wallet, my heart, but now? He made his choices, Michael. I know. I thought you should know. He stood to leave. At the door, he turned back. "Mom, I don't expect you to forgive me. I just needed you to know I'm sorry. And I'm gonna spend the rest of my life trying to be better. For Olivia, for my kids, for me. Michael, yeah? I'm proud of you for coming here." His eyes filled with tears. He nodded and left. I sat with that check on my table for an hour. Then I did something that surprised even me. I deposited it, not because I needed the money, but because Michael needed to pay it. He needed that accountability, that consequence. And maybe, just maybe, he was finally growing up. 3 weeks after the meeting, my life had found a strange new rhythm. I joined a book club at the library. 8 women all over 50 who met every Tuesday. They welcomed me like I'd always been there. I started taking yoga classes at the community center. The instructor, a young guy named David, was patient when I couldn't touch my toes or hold a pose. Yoga isn't about perfection, he told me. It's about showing up, about respecting where your body is today. I kept showing up, and slowly, my body started remembering it could bend, could stretch, could breathe. Emma invited me to volunteer with the foundation, the one that would inherit my apartment. They helped elderly people protect themselves from financial abuse. We need someone like you, Grace, someone who lived it, someone who fought back. I went to my first meeting on a Thursday. 12 women, all with stories like mine. Sons who stole from them, daughters who manipulated them, families who saw them as ATMs instead of people. One woman, Margaret, was 78. Her daughter had taken power of attorney and emptied her bank accounts. $340,000 gone. I got it back, Margaret said calmly. Took 3 years and a criminal trial, but I got every penny. My daughter's in prison now. Another woman, Ava, 67, told how her son put her house in his name. Kicked her out 3 months later. I lived in my car for 6 months, she said, before a lawyer helped me prove fraud. Judge reversed the transfer. My son hasn't spoken to me in 5 years. Best 5 years of my life. I listened to these women, these warriors, and I understood something fundamental. I wasn't alone. This wasn't personal. It was a pattern, an epidemic of family abuse that nobody wanted to talk about because family is sacred, because mothers must sacrifice, because questioning your children is taboo. Well, screw that. When I got home that night, there was someone sitting on the steps outside my building. Ethan. He looked terrible. Unshaven, unwashed, wearing the same clothes I'd seen him in weeks ago. He had a backpack next to him. Everything he owned, probably. He looked up when I approached. His eyes were hollow. Mom. Ethan. Can we talk? Please, I should have said no. Should have walked right past him. But something stopped me. Maybe it was the way he looked so broken. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was that stupid, stubborn part of mothers that never completely stops loving their kids, no matter what. 5 minutes. We went upstairs. I didn't offer him food this time. Didn't offer comfort, just water and a chair. Ethan sat at my kitchen table, the same table where he'd eaten thousands of meals growing up, where Thomas had helped him with homework, where we'd celebrated his birthdays. He looked around the apartment like he was seeing it for the first time. I forgot how much of Dad is still here, he said quietly. He's everywhere. I see him every day. Ethan's hands were shaking. He'd be so ashamed of me. Yes, he would. He flinched like I'd slapped him. But he didn't argue. Sophia took everything, Mom. The kids, the furniture, even the car. She cleaned out what was left in our bank account. I've got maybe $300 to my name. And you came here hoping I'd help you. No. He looked up, and I was surprised to see genuine clarity in his eyes. I came to tell you that you were right. About all of it. About Sophia, about me, about what we tried to do to you. That day, I told you to shut up. His voice cracked. That wasn't me, Mom. Or maybe it was me, and that's worse. Because I let her turn me into someone who could say that to his own mother. She didn't hold a gun to your head, Ethan. I know. I made my choices. I chose to ignore every warning sign. You tried to tell me about her before we got married, remember? You said something felt off. I did remember. 3 days before his wedding, I'd sat him down. Ethan, are you sure about this? Sophia she's very focused on money, on status. I just want you to be happy. Mom, you don't know her like I do. She loves me. I'd let it go. Because that's what you do. You let your kids make their mistakes. She never loved me, Ethan said now. She loved what she thought I could give her. The lifestyle. The money. When I couldn't deliver, I became useless. Why are you telling me this? Because I need you to know I see it now. I see what I did. How I used you. How I took advantage of your love and twisted it into something ugly. He pulled something from his backpack, a wrinkled piece of paper covered in messy handwriting. I've been seeing a therapist at a free clinic in the Bronx. She's been making me write things down. This is my list of amends, people I need to apologize to. You're at the top. I didn't take the paper. Ethan, I'm glad you're in therapy. I really am, but I can't help you. I can't give you money. I can't let you stay here. I'm not asking for that. Then what do you want? He stood up, walked to the window that looked out over the street. The same window he used to press his face against as a kid, waiting for Thomas to come home from work. I want you to know that I'm sorry. Truly, deeply sorry. Not because I lost everything. Not because I need something from you. But because I hurt the one person who always had my back. And I want you to know that I'm going to fix my life. I'm going to get my kids back. I'm going to become the man Dad wanted me to be, even if it takes years, even if you never forgive me. He turned back to face me. I don't expect you to believe me. I've lied to you too many times, but I'm going to prove it anyway. How? You don't have a job. You're about to be homeless. How are you going to prove anything? By doing it the hard way, the right way, no shortcuts. No manipulation, just work. He picked up his backpack. I've got a friend in Queens who's letting me sleep on his couch. I start a new job Monday, night shift at a warehouse. It's minimum wage, but it's honest. I'm going to save every penny. I'm going to get a lawyer and fight for custody. And I'm going to pay you back every dollar I owe you. Ethan, I know you don't want it. I know you don't need it, but I need to pay it, for me, so I can look at myself in the mirror. He walked to the door, stopped with his hand on the knob. I love you, Mom. I know I have a terrible way of showing it. But I do. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to show you I meant that. Then he left. I stood there in my empty apartment, surrounded by ghosts and memories, and I cried. Not because I was sad, but because for the first time in months, I felt something I didn't expect. Hope. 6 months passed. 6 months of the most peaceful living I'd had in years. My book club became my sanctuary. We read everything, mysteries, romances, biographies. But mostly we talked about our lives, our kids, our regrets, our victories. One of the women, Sophia, different Sophia, thank God, was 82 and had just started dating again. My daughter thinks I'm crazy, she said with a wicked grin. She says I'm too old for romance. I told her I'm old, not dead. We all cheered. Yoga became my meditation. David, the instructor, was right. It wasn't about perfection. It was about showing up. Every week I got a little stronger, a little more flexible, a little more myself. The foundation work was the most rewarding. I'd started speaking at workshops for elderly women dealing with family financial abuse, sharing my story, teaching them how to protect themselves. One woman, Patricia, 70 years old, came up to me after a session with tears in her eyes. "You saved my life," she said. My son was doing the same thing. I was about to sign over my house, but after hearing you, I called a lawyer instead. What happened? Lawyer found out my son had forged documents, had a fake will ready. He was planning to have me declared incompetent. Oh my God. Your story gave me the courage to fight back. He's facing fraud charges now. That's when I understood why Emma had pushed me to do this. My pain had purpose. My story could help others. Michael's visits became weekly. Every Sunday he'd come over with Olivia and the kids. We'd have dinner, real dinner, with conversation and laughter. His boys, James and Noah, would tell me about school, about their soccer games, about the dog they'd finally gotten, a rescue named Buddy. "Mom, we wanted you to be the first to know something," Michael said one Sunday in April. "What's that?" "I got a promotion, vice principal." I hugged him so hard he gasped. "Michael, that's amazing." Couldn't have done it without therapy. Learning to set boundaries, to stand up for myself, it changed everything. Olivia squeezed my hand under the table. She'd saved my son, pushed him to be better. She was the daughter-in-law I'd always wanted. Ethan kept his word. He didn't call asking for help. Didn't show up at my door begging, but every month, like clockwork, I'd get a text, still working at the warehouse. Saved $800 this month. Lawyer says custody hearing is in June. Hope you're well. Just updates. No guilt trips. No manipulation. In May, Michael told me something that surprised me. "I've been talking to Ethan." "Yeah? He's different, Mom. Really different. He's been sober 6 months. Didn't even know he had a drinking problem, but apparently he did. He's in therapy twice a week. He's working his ass off. That's good. He asks about you every time we talk. Not to pump me for information, just to make sure you're okay. I didn't know how to feel about that. June 15th, the day everything changed. I was at yoga when my phone buzzed. A text from a number I didn't recognize. Grace, this is Ethan, using a friend's phone. I don't want to bother you, but I wanted you to know. I got joint custody today. I get my boys every other week. I know you probably don't care, but I needed to tell someone who'd understand what this means. Thank you for teaching me, even when I wasn't listening, what real love looks like. I sat in the middle of yoga class, downward dog pose completely forgotten, reading that text over and over. David came over. Grace, you okay? Yeah, I said, wiping my eyes. Yeah, I think I am. That night, I did something I'd been thinking about for weeks. I called Ethan. He answered on the first ring, breathless. Mom? Hi, sweetheart. Silence. Then a sound like a sob being swallowed. I heard about the custody. Congratulations. Thank you. I can't believe you called. Would you like to bring the boys by sometime? I'd love to see them. Are you serious? I'm serious. More silence. Then, how about Sunday? If that's okay? Sunday's perfect. That Sunday, my apartment was full for the first time in almost a year. Michael and Olivia came with their boys. Ethan showed up with Mason and Liam, who'd grown so much I almost didn't recognize them. Grandma! They screamed, running to hug me, and just like that, the ice melted. We had dinner. I made lasagna, Thomas's recipe. The kids ran around like maniacs. The adults actually talked, really talked, like a family. After dinner, while the kids played in the living room, Ethan pulled me aside. Mom, I need to give you something. He handed me an envelope. Inside was a check for $5,000. Ethan, this is too much. You need this money it's 1/4 of what I owe you. I'll give you another $5,000 in 3 months. The full $20,000 will be paid back in a year. I need to do this, Mom. Please, let me be a man who pays his debts. I looked at my youngest son. His eyes were clear. His shoulders were straight. He looked healthier than I'd seen him in years. Okay. He hugged me. A real hug. Not desperate, not manipulative. Just a son hugging his mother. I'm going to make you proud again, he whispered. I promise. You already are. 1 year after the meeting, 1 year after, Ethan told me to shut up in my own home. 1 year after I made that phone call that changed everything. I was sitting in my apartment, protected and secure, surrounded by my family. Michael and Ethan had rebuilt their relationship. They talked weekly, supported each other, showed up for each other's kids. Both of them were in therapy. Both of them were growing. And me? I was thriving. I'd lost weight from yoga, made friends from book club, found purpose with the foundation. I'd given 3 talks that year, helping dozens of women protect themselves. Emma came over that night for what had become our monthly dinner tradition. You know what I'm proud of, Grace? What's that? A year ago, you were willing to lose everything to protect yourself. Your sons, your grandkids, everything. That took guts. I didn't have a choice. You had every choice. You could have rolled over, signed your apartment away, became the doormat they expected. But you didn't. Thomas would have wanted me to fight. Thomas would be so damn proud of you right now. Later, after everyone left and the apartment was quiet again, I stood on my balcony. The city lights sparkled below. A warm June breeze rustled through my plants. I thought about everything that had happened. The betrayal, the pain, the courage it took to stand up for myself. And I thought about everything I'd gained, my dignity, my autonomy, my peace. 2 sons who were learning, growing, becoming better men, a life that was truly mine. We did it, Thomas, I whispered to the stars. We raised them right after all. It just took them a while to remember. My phone buzzed. A text from Ethan. Thank you for today, Mom. The boys had the best time. Mason asked if we can have Sunday dinner at Grandma's every week. What do you think? I smiled. Every week sounds perfect. Another text. This one from Michael. Love you, Mom. Thanks for not giving up on us. Love you too. Sweetheart. I went inside, made myself tea, and curled up with my book. Outside, the city hummed with life. Inside, my home was peaceful, secure, mine. I'd gone from being Eleanor, who sacrificed everything and lost herself, to being Grace, who knew her worth and protected. I'd learned that loving your children doesn't mean letting them destroy you. That being a mother doesn't mean being a doormat. That forgiveness is possible, but it has to be earned. That you can lose everything and still find yourself. 6 months later, on Christmas Eve, my apartment was decorated like it hadn't been in years. Lights, a tree, stockings with everyone's names, Michael's family, Ethan's family, Emma, even a few friends from book club and yoga. We'd started a new tradition. Everyone brought a dish. Everyone helped clean up. Everyone contributed, no one person carrying the whole load. As I looked around at my family, imperfect, messy, but trying, I felt Thomas's presence stronger than I had in years. Ethan stood up, tapping his glass. I want to make a toast. To Mom, to Grace, the strongest woman I know. The woman who loved us enough to let us fall, and loved us enough to let us climb back up. 1.5 years ago, I said something to you I can never take back. But you gave me the chance to spend the rest of my life making up for it. So here's to you, Mom, to your courage, to your strength, to your incredible, fierce, unstoppable love. Everyone raised their glasses. To Grace, to Grandma. I stood up, tears streaming down my face. Happy tears, healing tears. Thank you all for being here, for doing the work, for showing up. Your father and I always said family isn't just about blood. It's about showing up even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. So here's to all of us, to second chances, to new beginnings, to family, the one we're born with and the one we choose to become. We ate. We laughed. We told stories. The grandkids performed a chaotic Christmas play they'd rehearsed for exactly 15 minutes. Michael and Ethan did dishes together, talking and joking like the brothers they used to be. Olivia and Emma became instant friends, bonding over their shared exasperation with the men in the family. And me? I sat in Thomas's chair, watching my family, broken and mended, messy and beautiful, and I felt completely, perfectly happy. At the end of the night, as everyone was leaving, Ethan pulled me aside one more time. Mom, I have something for you. He handed me an envelope. Inside was a check for $20,000, the full amount he'd owed me, paid back 6 months early. Ethan, this is every penny I owed you, plus interest. Because you deserve it. How did you? I got promoted at the warehouse. Then I got a better job, management position. I've been saving every extra dollar. This was more important than anything else. I hugged my son. I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of me too. Finally. After everyone left, I sat in my peaceful apartment. I looked at that check, at the photos from the evening Emma had taken, at the chaos of wrapping paper and dishes still to be put away. My home, my life, my terms. I'd gone from being the mother who gave everything and lost herself to the woman who knew her worth and protected it. I'd learned that standing up for yourself isn't selfish, it's survival. That loving someone doesn't mean letting them hurt you. That family is about respect, not obligation. That you're never too old to start over. That sometimes the best thing you can do for your children is teach them consequences. And that at 64 years old, my life wasn't over, it was just beginning. 5 years later, I'm 69 now, still in my apartment, still independent, still thriving. Ethan is remarried to a wonderful woman named Emily, who treats him like a partner, not an ATM. They have a baby girl they named Grace. After me. Michael is a principal now. His boys are teenagers who actually still want to hang out with their grandma. Sophia, the evil one, tried to come back into Ethan's life last year. He shut that door so fast and so firmly, I almost cheered. I still do yoga 3 times a week. Still run my book club. Still volunteer with the foundation, which has helped over 300 women protect themselves from financial abuse. And my apartment? Still mine, still protected. Still the home Thomas and I built together. I learned something important through all of this. You can love your children completely and still set boundaries. You can forgive without being a doormat. You can be a devoted mother without losing yourself. The day my son told me to shut up was the worst day of my life. But it was also the day I found myself again. The day I remembered I was Grace. Not just mom. Not just grandma, but Grace. A woman with worth. With dignity, with rights. And you know what? That's the greatest gift my son could have given me, because in trying to take everything, he taught me to value myself. In trying to silence me, he taught me to use my voice. In trying to make me small, he reminded me how strong I really am. So yeah, he told me to shut up when the adults were talking, and I taught him who the real adult in the room was, and we all lived happily ever after, with boundaries, with respect, and with genuine love. The end.